In 2020, Bloodshot almost had the solution to superhero fatigue. Directed by David S. F. Wilson, Bloodshot follows Ray Garrison, a soldier killed in action and revived with advanced nanotechnology, granting him abilities. However, Ray discovers his memories have been secretly manipulated, and he's just a pawn. The film was the proposed start to a Vin Diesel movie franchise. Vin Diesel's Bloodshot casting certainly made sense for a potential franchise. The actor has appeared in big movie franchises before, including the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and has also proven himself in leading roles, like in the movies that defined Vin Diesel's career, Fast and Furious. Yet, unfortunately, Bloodshot was doomed from the start, and a franchise never happened. Interestingly, Bloodshot is actually based on the comic book superhero character from Valiant Comics, who debuted in 1992. Furthermore, the 2020 movie was supposed to be a part of a larger franchise, the Valiant Comics Shared Universe, with Bloodshot marking the first installment. However, Vin Diesel's Bloodshot had a less than stellar box office result, which disrupted future franchise plans. Bloodshot's box office failure was disappointing, as the franchise would have offered something different to the two other big superhero franchises, Marvel and DC. The Bloodshot comic stories tend to be smaller scale, but also darker, grittier, and more militaristic or sci-fi oriented than those of Marvel and DC, often reflecting themes of government conspiracy, mind control, and identity struggles. In fact, Vin Diesel's Bloodshot could have been another Invincible or The Boys, which take an almost anti-superhero stance. Instead of leaning into the classic stereotypical values of a superhero movie, Bloodshot explores the darker side to receiving powers, especially when an exploitative organization is involved. As a result, Bloodshot's movie franchise could have easily offered the solution to superhero fatigue. Unfortunately, Bloodshot was doomed from the start, and a franchise was never fully realized. According to figures by Box Office Mojo, the Vin Diesel movie earned just $37.3 million on a $45 million production budget, making it a complete and utter financial failure. However, this was not entirely due to Bloodshot's quality, but rather due to bad timing. Released just 1 year after Avengers Endgame, the final divisive conclusion to a story encompassing 22 movies, Bloodshot felt slightly underwhelming. Considering the Marvel Cinematic Universe had just defeated godlike aliens with complex time travel, Bloodshot's somewhat down-to-earth story doesn't really compare. As a result, Bloodshot scored a rather low 38% tomatometer on Rotten Tomatoes, making it a critical failure. That being said, Bloodshot scored a 78% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes, which leads to the question of why its box office was so low. Unfortunately, Bloodshot was released during the COVID-19 pandemic, which meant theaters were shut. Therefore, Bloodshot's failure was not entirely deserved, and if the pandemic movie was re-released, Vin Diesel's franchise might just see a resurgence.